Welcome to Rewired for Love. I am your host, JaCarie Owens, licensed mental health counselor, EMDR basic training coach and consultant, group practice owner and supervisor at Courageous Minds Counseling, relational trauma expert, and the most important one, your honest but loving homegirl therapist who's not afraid to talk about the messy parts of healing. Around here, we talk about all things nobody taught us growing up, how our attachment styles show up in love, why our nervous system acts like a fool sometimes, and what it really takes to feel safe in our bodies. So this is not about perfection. It's about learning to love yourself in real time with grace, boundaries, and a little bit of humor. So take a deep breath. Get comfy, because we don't chase chaos, we choose calm. And this is Rewired for Love. Hey y'all, welcome back to Rewired for Love. Over the last few weeks, we've been in some deep water together. We've met your inner child, we talked about what it really means to reparent yourself, and we started softening that loud inner critic voice. So today, we're shifting the energy just a little bit, because healing isn't just about unpacking pain, grief, or survival. It's about healing and remembering that your body is allowed to feel good. So this episode, it's about joy, how to play, laughter, curiosity, and silliness. They're all not distractions from healing, but actual tools that help your nervous system feel safe again. And we usually do that through play or through laughter. So let's start off with a little story time. Have you ever seen a kid laugh so hard that they literally fold over? There's no self-consciousness, no how do I look right now, just pure, unfiltered joy. And the reality of it is, most of us started off like that. But somewhere along the way, we traded belly laughs for being serious. And then we started surviving. We started overachieving, performing, raising everybody else. And all of a sudden, joy started to slip to the bottom of the priority list. Not because we didn't need it, but because it stopped feeling necessary. And for me, there was a season where joy felt like something I had to earn. Like, once I finish this, or once I fix that, or for me, once I hit this goal, then I can rest, and then I can play. And if you're anything like me, that finish line just kept moving. What I've learned, clinically and personally, is that joy is medicine. It's not extra, it's not childish. It's one of the ways I remind my nervous system, hey, we're not in constant danger anymore. So, if joy has felt optional, if it's felt selfish or unsafe, this episode is your permission slip to pick it back up. So you may be wondering, why joy? And why play specifically? Because we're older now, we're adults. Why do we need to play? Why does joy and play matter for healing? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why joy and play are so powerful from a nervous system lens. So the neuroscience of play. When you play, you laugh, you dance, you sing off key, you create something just because. And in those moments, your body shifts out of a pure survival mode and into a more parasympathetic state. And that is your state of being where you can rest and digest. Your social connection system. That's where your body releases good chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. And these are chemicals that help your brain associate certain experiences with safety, with connection, and with pleasure. So, joy isn't just a mood, it's a regulation tool. It tells your brain, in this moment, we're okay. That's what it tells your brain. And that's what creates that rest and that calm and that safety in those moments. So to truly understand joy, you have to understand why trauma disconnects us from joy. So if you grew up in chaos, emotional, financial, relational chaos, your body learned to expect stress, not softness. So you might be familiar with being on high alert rather than feeling relaxed. So now, because you're used to that, when joy shows up, it can feel foreign or even suspicious, uncomfortable. Your nervous system might think, wait a minute, if I let my guard down and enjoy this, something bad's going to happen. And that's not you being negative. That's a body that has been trained to survive more than it's been allowed to enjoy. And if we're looking from a cultural standpoint, for many of us, Black and brown communities, rest and joy was presented as luxuries. We were taught to hustle hard, stay twice as sharp, don't play too much, and don't give them a reason to talk about you. So joy didn't always feel safe because the world wasn't safe. So your parents, your grandparents, your caregivers might have believed that staying serious, staying busy, staying controlled would protect you. And when we talk about reclaiming joy, we're not just talking about fun. We're talking about a quiet form of resistance. It's you saying, my nervous system deserves softness too. I'm not here just to endure life. I'm allowed to experience it. And that affirmation is what I want you to hold on to when you're thinking about not holding on to joy. And if we're doing trauma work, like EMDR and joy, we don't just look at pain. We also build resourcing, which means intentionally connecting your brain and your body to feelings that feel calm, that feel safe, that feel even joy. So in EMDR, we help your nervous system remember, oh yeah, I have access to good feelings, not just survival states. Joy helps expand your ability to stay within that by grounding you and helping you to feel balanced. It actually also gives you more tolerance to expand. Say you walk around, if we were to rate how much you walk around and feeling stressed and chaos, and say we rate it as maybe an 8 out of 10, you don't have much space for anything else before you may flip your lid. But if you were to engage in joy and those feelings of safety and connection, that naturally lowers your natural baseline from an 8 to maybe a 2. And look how much more tolerance you have for stress, for life, because we know life be lifing, and we need a little bit more wiggle room so that we're not crashing out a little bit. So that's what joy brings. So when you play, you're not being irresponsible. I need us to break that cycle. Play is necessary. You're actually helping your brain and your body to learn new patterns. And I know we are adults, but I promise you, we are big kids on the inside because most of us are healing our inner child anyway. And we need connection. We need fun. We need a good belly laugh. So now let's talk about how to actually bring joy back in a real grounded way. So the first step, because we don't want to jump too soon, it's going to feel unfamiliar. You're going to try to refuse it and not do it. So the first thing is to just find little micro moments of joy. You don't need a plane ticket. You don't need a month off to feel joy. I know some of us be trying to take time off to heal, but in this moment when you're reclaiming joy, we just need micro moments. So start with those small, simple things that give your system a tiny spark. That can be sunlight on your face for 30 seconds. That can be you dancing in the kitchen while you're cooking. That can be laughing at a meme your friend sent you. That can be sipping your coffee slowly instead of chugging it. Every time you notice a moment like that, I need you to mentally mark it as, this feels good. And in those moments, you're giving your nervous system a reminder that Yeah, we can experience something other than tension. Another thing you can do is sensory play. We all naturally do it and it's naturally soothing. We're just not intentional about it. So when we're talking about sensory play, your body needs pleasure. It needs creativity to feel fully alive. So in those moments, you can try things like coloring or painting, but it has to be with no goal of being good. It's just to be and allowing you to do whatever you want to do, whatever the brain and the body guide you to do. So maybe doodling. Another thing is gardening, replotting a plant, or just touching soil. You know, when people talk about go touch grass, literally, go touch grass, go touch it. You can also cook or baking, something new that you never tried before, and paying attention to the smells, the textures, the taste. All of that gets you grounded in the moment and allows you to feel those good feelings of what you're feeling as you're cooking. You can also do a simple craft, building something or decorating a space. That's my favorite. I always am looking to what do I want to rearrange? What furniture, what room? My daughter does it too, where she naturally goes in at least once a month and rearranges her room. And that feels grounded. That feels good in those moments. That brings you joy to have something, a new, refreshing room. And I want to say this out loud, as you may notice, play doesn't always have to look like playing games. Sometimes it looks like letting your senses be engaged and delighted. That tells your body, again, we're not just surviving, we're allowed to enjoy. Another one, which is one of my favorites and my son's favorite, is movement and embodiment. Because what we do know about trauma is that trauma often teaches us to leave our bodies, to disconnect from sensations because it felt like too much. But when we're talking about joy, joy invites us to come back. I want you to try putting on one song in the morning and letting your body move however it wants. I know for me, I love me some good 90s R&B, and I can rock out to that all day. I want you to also try walking outside and noticing your feet, how your feet feel on the ground. How do you feel grounded? Notice your senses. What does the wind feel like? What does the flowers look like? Well, this time of year there may not be any flowers, but whatever the scenery is, let that soak in and just notice. Don't rush through your walk. We call that a mindful walk when we notice all of our senses within the walk. I also want you to try stretching your arms, your neck, and your back with intentions. And just remind yourself, I'm allowed to take up space. This isn't about fitness goal. I want to make sure I say that very much so clear. Or earning your food. This is about letting your body remember that it's safe to be here now. Number 4, I want you to try some inner child invitations and ask yourself, what did I love to do as a child before the world told me to grow up? Was it drawing? Was it reading fiction for hours? Was it double dutch? Was it Legos? Maybe playing dress up? Maybe playing hide go seek? Or maybe it was singing into your hairbrush. I want you to know that your inner child already knows what joy feels like. You don't have to create it from scratch. You get to revisit it. So I just need you to pick one thing from your childhood and bring a version of that into your adult life. That might look like taking a dance class, buying crowns and a coloring book, or just skipping down the sidewalk when no one's watching. Or, you know what, when everyone's watching. And dance like no one is watching, right? And number 5 of what I want you to try, I want you to try joy without guilt. This is a big one. You are allowed to feel joy even when everything in your life is not perfectly aligned. You are allowed to laugh while still healing. And you are allowed to rest even if your to-do list is not empty. Joy does not erase your pain. It expands you beyond it. And I get it. Sometimes we feel guilty for being happy when people around us are struggling or when we're still working through trauma. But your suffering doesn't heal other people. You're regulated joyful, grounded presence is actually more resourced. And that's what lets us show up for ourselves and for people we care about. I need you to hold on to this. Joy is not betrayal. Joy is integration. So let's do a little reflection and integration. So this week, I want you to practice joy on purpose, not waiting for it to show up, but intentionally inviting it in. And here's your reflection I want you to practice. 1, make a joy list. Write down 5 simple things that make you smile or feel at ease. It doesn't have to be anything big, nothing expensive, but I want you to think song, a snack, a smell, a place, a person, an activity. Just all those things. Make a joy list and see what you come up with. 2, do 1 joy thing a day. Pick 1 item from that list every day this week. Not because you earned it, not as a reward for productivity, but simply because you are alive and you're deserving of good feelings. Next, notice what's happening in your body. When you're in the moment of joy, I want you to pause and ask, what does my body feel right now? Is there anything loosening or softening or warming? In that moment, you're teaching your nervous system that joy is not random. It is something you can cultivate. It's something you can choose and return to. And with that, here is your affirmation for the week. I am worthy of joy, of rest, and laughter. And my healing includes happiness. And let this be your anchor, because you deserve it. Without filter, without limitations and expectations, you deserve joy. Now, I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Rewired for Love. If today's conversation reminded you that healing can be joyful, that you don't always have to be in deep work mode, share this with a friend who's been survival mode for too long. And next week, we're starting a brand new series, and it's called Love After Trauma, Relearning Connection, Trust, and Intimacy. Ooh, okay. We're going to be talking about what healthy love actually looks like when your nervous system has been shaped by hurt. Ooh, that one's going to hit. That one's going to hit for a lot of people. So until next time, go laugh, go play. And remember, joy is not extra. Joy is your birthright. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Rewired for Love. If today's conversation resonated with you, share it with someone you care about, or take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback helps this community to grow and keeps these healing conversations flowing. You can also follow me and come hang out with me on all socials, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of them at Rewired for Love Podcast. Go there to get your daily doses of healing, honesty, and a whole lot of love. Until next time, keep listening to your body, lead with compassion, and remember, you are safe enough to love and be loved.